And as far as your studio, man, I mean, this place is amazing. I mean, dude, the pieces you have in here are mind blowing. I mean, they're so unique and different than anything I've seen. And I'm a big art guy. I mean, I grew up drawing comic books. I used to, look at different artists. And I remember my big homie one time telling me, when graffiti was big, doing graffiti. And he's like, man, you ever heard of Picasso? I'm like, who's Picasso? He's like, oh man, I'm gonna be Picasso. I'm like, and you try to think about like how you leave your mark. And you definitely left a mark, man. I mean, tell us about like how this place right here came about, because this is prime location, man.
Well, I'm about to do a collection called The Domino Effect, and what it is really just, I told you, a community of good people have helped me. And how I came here is I had a gallery, and, it all started really like, I got out 8 years ago. The first 3 were real tough, odd jobs, cleaning toilet bowls, delivering liquor for Wertz Liquors, driving cars, portering cars, just whatever to get a paycheck every week. And doing art at night, but never could get nowhere with it, And then I met an individual, Joseph Cacciatore. He had this junior. He was doing a bunch of art at this Lacuna Lofts. He gave me a chance as an intern artist. His father took a liking to me, started paying me really good to do it, started to get my life together, started being around other artists. And then that ended about 9 months, and that's when I went to paint houses. And right when I was getting my life together, I kind of gave up on art, I tried to do some shows, it was just kind of like if you didn't have an art degree, if you didn't have a gallery, if you didn't have an art publisher, an art manager, just kind of like acting or music or whatever. Same thing. If you weren't in that system, man, it's going to be really hard to get in it. And I seen it even with the story, cool art, able to talk. I was still having issues with it. But then being around the other artists, I seen that that's just what it is. It's a tough game, man. Any type of profession is going to be tough to be at the top. And then to be an artist alive who makes money, you have to be at the top. And so when I got into my just painting houses and just 7 to 3 and had a baby, I was happy with life, man. I was cool, And then my house burned down, 2017. I lost everything, Thank God no one got hurt, but I lost everything. Except the painting that I had painted of my brother who was mentally ill, and who I pretty much lost. I mean, he's been missing. He's been on the street for a while. One of those guys who turns homeless because of the mental illness, and even if you got him a place, it wouldn't matter. He'd go live on the street type guy, right?
Yeah.
And so I did this painting, and he used to always tell me, "Man, Art, it's your art that's gonna make it. It's your art that's gonna make it." And I did this painting. Well, that was the only piece of art that survived. It was the one that I did of my brother. And so I just kind of felt like, man, I was in this area of life where I was content, even though I've never been the type that's content with anything. But because I had tried the art and it didn't work, because I tried to publish my book and it didn't work, I just figured like, okay, let me just be happy with being normal. Let me be normal for a minute. What does that mean? And then my whole life got thrown upside down. I lost my house. And so I ended up getting a couple dudes that had a consulting company that gave me a place to paint, gave me a little bit of money to live with, without having to work the construction. And I painted, and I had 4 pieces. Went down to Miami in December. First couple days were terrible, and then I had my own show at a jet hangar out of all places. Met a billionaire, bought 4 pieces, and then I met Arnold Schwarzenegger's people from the charity, After School All-Stars. And they liked my story, they liked my art, and they said, look, would you want to raise some money for some kids? I said, absolutely, man, this is what I've been doing my whole life. So not only did I go back to Chicago selling all 4 pieces, man, so I felt good, but now I'm getting invited back 2 months later. So I come back 2 months later, and we do the show at Naboo with the charity, and we sell all 4 paintings. I give them 12 grand, made a little money, and they liked me so much with the way that I was, my demeanor, my composure, the way I was with the people, that Arnold invited me to his house 6 months later. And that was the dream come true, Because now I come to Arnold's, I don't have no gallery represent me, I have no manager, I have no publisher, I just have me and my art, that's it. And I came out here to Arnold's, and man, what an amazing moment, you know. I met some beautiful families, the Rizzuto family for sure. They ended up buying like, you know, I came out here with like 20 pieces. I was only allowed to have 3 at the place, but I had the rest at the hotel, right up to Sunset and La Cienega. And so I sold the 3 pieces at Arnold's, man. I was telling, hey, man, come back to my hotel. I was slinging art at the hotel, man. I swear I was. It was crazy. Took it right to their, so the Rizzutos had a hotel right in Beverly Hills, the W or something. I took the art right into the lobby, man, set it up, man. We sold it right there. It was the coolest moment ever, man. Great family, you know. Things didn't work out the way I wanted to with them and with a lot of people in this journey, because I didn't even really know who I was when it really started going, you know. I'm only out of prison 3 years, but now all of a sudden my life is like in warp speed, man. And I sold like 480,000 at Arnold's that weekend. I ended up giving the charity like 25% of it, 30% of it. Took the rest and built a gallery in Chicago, in my neighborhood. And I was there 3 years, man, fighting, doing my own shows, doing my own thing, staying independent. And then the COVID hit, you know. 20 was about to be my year. I was about to have a documentary series on me where they were going to follow me around for my 4 shows. I was doing Fisher's, Arnold's again. We were looking at doing Manhattan, Rolls Royce, and then Art Basel again. I was going to do the Count of Monte Cristo theme because it's my favorite movie, the Count of Monte Cristo, right? 13 years in the cell, learning everything. So I was going to do a whole theme on that this was my Monte Cristo moment, me coming back to life. And then COVID hit, you know. And I was already in a pandemic in prison in 2009, so I knew what was going to happen. The micro is always the same.
Yeah.
And what happened? Same thing. Lockdown, food rations, not the right medicine. Prison, people were, you know, it was terrible, man. I got it, and I got over it. You know, it was a tough one. It took me a minute to get over it. So I didn't know what the virus was, and I had my suspicions of what it was, right? I didn't believe anything was being told to me for sure, right? I knew that there were a lot of bullshit, because I've seen things happen in my prison that they don't talk about.
Never gets reported.
It's always disreported,
Yeah.
and I knew that. And the regular people don't know that, and that's cool. I won't even argue with them about it, you know, because they just don't get it. They want to trust, and you don't want to violate that trust. Let them have it, you know. But I knew better, and so I had an RV that I traded some paintings for, and I just told my wife, I said, "Baby, man, let's get out of Chicago," because we lived in the inner city, man. It wasn't like suburbs. We lived on 33rd and Austin. I could walk to my gallery, you know. And then the police station was right there. I said, listen, what's going to happen? Because she didn't want to leave. Pack up the house, close the gallery. Are you crazy? Just 3 years you've been, now you just want to go? And I told her, I said, what's going to happen? They're going to lock everyone down. It's going to be hard to get certain things. Tempers are going to flare, and one little thing is going to cause the whole country to go up in fire. And the cities are going to be the ones that are going to pay the worst. And I don't want to be here when it happens. I said, exactly what happened in prison is going to happen in the big cities. And she believed me. And so we packed the house, we packed the gallery, I closed it. One of the worst days of my life. We got in the RV, went to Texas. I stayed in Mount Pleasant, Texas, did a mural there for some great people at a bowling alley for 6 months while the whole world was falling apart. I'm living in an RV, man, at this little camp place, man, painting a mural, man, in the middle of nowhere, you know. And then some of my Hollywood friends, you know, I had, you know, Ricky Funes from Ten Goose. I had Matt Oshocker from New Wave. And then I had my boy Paul Couture, who was a writer. And then my dude Craig, who was a writer, was like, hey, man, come out here and you could get your movie stuff made and get your art. And I knew that I hadn't hit LA yet, you know. I hit New York, I hit Miami, I hadn't hit the West Coast yet. So I felt like, okay, I could make some money out there. And man, boy, was that it, man. So I came out here in September 1st. We left Texas, came here. We were supposed to move into a place. We lost the place, so we ended up living at the Fairmount for like a month, underneath, you know, some family package, and whole place was closed down, so they gave us the second floor. So me and my family are living at the Fairmount in Santa Monica during the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
Then we got our place. In November, they opened up for 2 weeks. I took a shot. I had a show in Studio City at Sync Brokerage. My boy owned Sync Brokerage. He said, hey, man, have a show here. We had it. Sean Farce, when we had that, my friend Charlie, who's kind of like my mentor here, lives up on top of a mountain, man. You know, he's from New York. He's the one really. When I say domino, it's people that led me here, man. Mm-hmm. Because when I came here, my friend Paul introduced me to Mike. Mike introduced me to Charlie. Charlie introduced me to everybody. And then Charlie took a step further, and even though he didn't know me, he vouched for me. And when he vouched for me, that's when they gave me my gallery in Beverly Hills. But it was going to be a restaurant now, and I knew it was going to be a restaurant, but they didn't know if it was going to be 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or a year whenever they got the permit. Well, God, thank you for what he did for me, but he left me there for 9 months. I got to stay in Beverly Hills for 9 months. I built good relationships. And then when it was time for me to go, you know, it was hard because, you know, now I finally had this beautiful gallery in Beverly Hills. People loved me there. I brought joy to the community. I had to deal with, you know, protesters every Saturday, which was crazy because here I was, you know, I just left Chicago and now I'm dealing with this crap. And then, you know, I had the choice to go to a social club or come here and have my own space. And I chose to have my own space, you know. And it's been difficult still. You know, I still have my ups and downs. LA's a different world than Chicago. Chicago, I got my friends, I got my people, you know. It's cheaper, right? So this has been a whole new world for me, and I brought my family with me. So now I'm dealing with the family and trying to do this. So it's been a juggling act, but it's been the funnest time of my life. LA has been the funnest time of my life. I'm doing things that would seem impossible to somebody getting out of prison 8 years ago with no money. But it's all the things that I used when I was on the street, my street smart, my ability to say no, right? Come out here, you want to say yes to everything. Man, I'm a no guy, man. I say no to a lot of shit. You get a yes out of me, man, you better think, you know, I'm real, you know. So the streets and even in prison helped me navigate, you know, what some people would come out here and see is, you know, you hear about like the Hollywood tinsel, all this talk and everything. Man, I haven't really dealt with much of that. The people I got around me, man, they're all solid. And I like to think that that's because either I've weeded out the bad or my character automatically weeded out the bad, right? And it's left all the good. And so, man, this gallery, you know, when I made the decision, when I had the opening on August 28th, which was my son's birthday, it was a real special moment because it was like July 23rd was my 8-year anniversary. And I spent a whole month jamming to get it ready. And when we opened it on the 28th, I remember sitting here, man, right there, and I was going through my Facebook because my Facebook starts from the day I got out of jail. The day I got out, that's my first Facebook post. And so I sat right there and I went all the way back to the first day, man. And I spent about 4 hours just kind of scrolling through, looking at where I've been, what I've done, how life has been, the ups, the downs, because I didn't hide it all, right? And then it came to here. And it showed me that, because there was I remember a lot of pain. I remember a lot of good moments. I remember a lot of tough moments. I remember a lot of disappointments. I remember a lot of successes. I remember a lot of things as I was watching those pictures. And what I took from it at that moment was that the reason I'm here is because I never quit. I never gave up. I never stopped.
I think a lot of that also prepared you for the success you have now and where you're going in the future. I mean, I tell people all the time, you know, there's times where I used to sit in prison and be like, man, you know, I got another 6 years of this, you know, and then being out in the halfway house, you know, starting from scratch, you know, trying to get my life together and the challenges I've had since I've been out. But I know as long as I'm putting forth the effort, and even during those times where it feels like things are rocky, I keep believing in myself, everything's gonna work out because I'm putting good back into the world.
Yeah.
You know.
So, that's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah.
So I mean, your story, bro, is a success story that, you know, one of the stories that makes our channel and our viewers, and it's inspirational because people, I mean, if they've never been to California or LA and if they've never seen this, they wouldn't believe it, man.
No.
But bro, I really appreciate you taking the time to come to our channel, share your story, man.
Yeah.
You're the epitome of success, man.
Appreciate you, man, for sure. Most definitely. All right, man.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, right on, man. I'm glad you guys came through.
Hey, everybody. Big Herc 916, fresh out. Art Williams, man, doing it big.
Here we
Subscribe,
are, Vinci's
support.
Gallery, man. You know, come check it out.
Check it out. Links in the description.